Well, hello and welcome everyone to another Market Conversations. I'm Jerry Hall, broadcasting from beautiful Costa Rica. Glad that all of you have taken the time to join us tonight. Pete Kelly already in the chat. Nice to have you. And I see folks are just lining up. Good to have you in the house, everybody. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be bringing Brad Varnell from the Infinite Crypto channel. I'm going to do a little intro for Brad, although he can hear me. He's in the studio right now getting his camera fixed. I found Brad's channel when I was putting together for the Patreon group a side fund, aside from our normal investment club fund, a fund specifically dedicated to Metaverse projects, with the thinking that if everybody who wanted to participate put in 1.5 Ethereum, that together we could buy and put together a pretty nice portfolio of Metaverse projects. And so that happened, and Brad's channel was one of the places that I got a tremendous amount of content for Metaverse projects. And I started leaving comments in his video field. And somehow one day, I don't know how or when, he figured out where my YouTube channel was, and he responded and said, "Hey, perhaps we could collaborate someday." I'm saying, that's exactly what I want to do. So let's do that. Let me bring on Brad from the Infinite Crypto. Hey, Brad, how are you, man?
Hi, fantastic, Jerry. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing tonight?
Dude, every day is a blessing. I've had some challenges the last couple of months, and I don't mind sharing this. November 8th, my portfolio was as high as it's ever been. November 16th, I had a heart attack. And today I'm on the road to recovery with half the value I had then. And you know what? I'm really okay with it. And the interesting piece of this is, hey, Jared, nice to have you. That regardless of the price on the coin market cap, I am earning more crypto every day because my whole portfolio is geared towards yield. So every day I'm dollar cost averaging in whether the price of stuff is at all-time highs or at all-time lows. I'm getting further down the road. And so I'm not fazed by the jostulations of my portfolio value. How does that kind of stuff affect you, Brad?
Man, I know exactly how you feel, and I definitely am feeling a little bit of the sting myself. In my situation, I'm still good, but like you, I've lost a ton of the value. But I've tried to design my life to where I can withstand the storms. In other words, I do live off of a portion of my crypto at this point in time. I'm totally retired from the traditional world. Don't have a job and that kind of stuff. So there are times when things are down like this, and I am forced to sell a little bit of crypto that maybe I wish I didn't have to. But at the same time, I've got enough to where I can go quite a while and still have a huge portfolio when it bounces back.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was super, super, super early. So it had to be early 2018. The circle of crypto influencer type of people that I was tuned into at that particular moment, Cryptopolis on Twitter, I got to, well, we developed a little relationship back and forth with stuff, and then turned into DMs, turned into exchanging phone numbers. And he always would say he never invested anything that didn't pay him to own it. Meaning, if it was a stock and it didn't have a dividend, it wasn't on the table. If it wasn't something that gave him interest, he wasn't interested. And that stuck with me. That really stuck with me. And so obviously early in my crypto career, I'm trying to figure out how to earn yield on the things that I invest in. And of course, we all know how the proof of stake, DeFi, and NFT world made all that extremely easy and extremely possible.
Right.
So I've been very fortunate that my relatively large, diverse portfolio, every single asset has a yield component of some sort, whether it's with a platform like Nexo or Celcius or BlockFi, or within its own blockchain, and it's just part of the proof of stake mechanism. And so I'm very happy that doing that has allowed me to continue to compound into my original investment, and I can live off a portion of the yield without ever having to touch my principal. Even with a reduced, my portfolio has been cut in half, and I'm still compounding more into my principal every single day. And
absolutely,
you know what I mean? And so, like, my audience, because that's what I talk about. I talk about all the time, the preservation of wealth, the building of wealth. And it basically comes down to one simple concept. You're either compounding in your principal or you're not. And if you are, you're going to get ahead. And if you're not, you're going to lose ground. Because none of us have the kind of, fortification to withstand the monetary debasement that's going on globally, and that the globe is forced to continue. There's no going back to reasonable national spending, to reasonable debt markets. That's gone. Those days are over. The 50s are gone. You know what I mean? So we have to figure out ways to beat that game. Share with us some of the things you found, because you're like a different investor than I am, but I really enjoyed your energy and your passion to help people. And I think on those two levels, you and I are in lockstep with each other.
Right. Absolutely. So just a little bit of my background. I was having trouble with my camera as you were introducing me. So I actually switched computers. So I didn't actually hear all of the wonderful things you said about me as you were introducing me. So just to make sure your audience knows just a little bit about me. Once again, my name's Brad Varnell. I own the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. My story in crypto is kind of maybe not unique, but a little bit different. I was trying to create financial freedom my whole adult life. I'm 48 years old now. My dad owned his own business my whole life. He always taught me to go after what I was worth and not to work, not to trade time for money, but to get paid what I was worth, not just an hourly wage. So my whole life I was looking for financial freedom, and I tried to find it many different ways. Network marketing. I was actually a professional poker player for a while, and I found that one of the reasons I really loved poker wasn't really that I loved poker. I do love poker, but now that I have the freedom from crypto, it's not like it was. But I found that the poker gave me the freedom from the 40-40-40 plan. I always hated punching a time clock for somebody else. So in my journeys, and through one of my network marketing companies, I made very, very good friends with a gentleman named Jonathan Kelly. And him and I both had the dream of building that passive income through a network marketing company. We also loved the way that you could help other people through, helping them to build their own business. I love the diagram where most of the time on the ladder of success in the traditional world, you're on this ladder of success, and the people that are below you are reaching up, trying to grab your leg and rip you off the ladder. And the people that are above you are trying to kick you in the head and knock you off the ladder. But in network marketing, it's kind of the opposite. You're on the ladder, and the people that are above you are actually reaching down, offering you their hand, trying to help you up the ladder. And then the people that below you are kind of giving you a push, because when you win, everybody wins. Well, long story short, we weren't able to make it the way that we wanted to, but he got involved in crypto in the beginning of 2017. And he begged me all of 2017 to get into crypto, and I didn't. But I watched him turn $9,500 into $2.2 million by the beginning of 2018. And I said, all right, I'm in. And so I jumped in, at the absolute worst possible moment there ever was to jump in crypto.
December
but
3rd, December 3rd,
literally. Yeah, I mean, it's right, very early December. I started buying some Ripple and I got to see some really massive gains. But of course, we were expecting it to keep going up in 2018. I didn't sell anything. So, but you know, so long story short, over the last 4 years, though, I was able to develop a portfolio that gave me incredible strength because I had to endure a lot of misery. But one of the things that he taught me, and I think is so valuable, and we hear it in everything, is don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. But another thing that I think is super important in crypto is don't invest money that you can't afford to leave in the market for a long period of time. If you've got time, there's no such thing as a guarantee in life, but if you've got time, crypto is about as sure a thing as you're ever going to find for creating wealth. So here, fast forward, you know, a little over 4 years later, all of the things that I invested in and continue to invest in rocketed up. I was able to pull a nice chunk out. And like you said, as I matured in my crypto journey, I quit thinking about capital gains and I started thinking about creating income. But the only trouble with that, though, is like right now I've got some fantastic, you know, assets that are appreciating on a daily basis. But as they drop down by 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%, it's still frustrating to have to use any of that passive income for life.
You know, so, I'll tell you, as I refine my process, right? And that's really this whole thing for me, Brad, is I'm in a constant evolutionary state. But I'll tell you, I think one of the best tips I ever got early was plan your passive income strategy so that you only need 30% of it. So for instance, if your passive income strategy can produce $1,000 a month, only need, right, 30% of it, $300. That way, any jostulations in the market are not going to affect your bottom line base level, you know, what I call baseline living expenses. And it allows you to plan in a reinvestment strategy. And I can, with that other 70%, allocate a vacation this month. Okay, great. I can allocate maybe investment in a new project this month. It's not contingent on next month. It's based off, this is what happened this month. And I'll tell you, I haven't gone wrong. And I've been able to, with several different mechanisms. Simple stated, I don't invest in anything that doesn't pay me yield. I'm willing to take collateralized loans at certain LTVs with certain assets in certain conditions with a strategy attached to it. And that little mechanism has turned a very little bit of money in February 2018 into a nice chunk of money that's allowing me to do things like buy this. I bought the property in Costa Rica. I'm building my dream house. I'm doing things that only were dreams before that, and I'm actually doing them now. And even after a 50% market meltdown in my portfolio, I'm still smiling.
Absolutely. You know, and that's one of the things that attracted me to your channel. You know, when I came across your channel and I started watching your videos, that was one of the reasons that I reached out, you know, because I really loved your strategies, your passion, and that, you know, that you created the dream, you know, the lifestyle that you wanted. It, you know, you pictured it, you imagined it, you envisioned it, and then you went out and built it. And, you know, that's a rare commodity these days. There's so many people that have the dream, but that aren't willing to do the work and put in the time and effort that it takes to make that happen. So congratulations, man. When we talked the other day and you showed me some of the pictures of your dream house and the things that you had going, I just totally blown away, man. It's amazing what you've done.
Well, thank you. One of the things I love sharing, see, I did not grow up with a father. I grew up in a single mother home. And although you and I did a lot of the same things, like I spent a couple of years as a single father playing poker because of the schedule, it allowed me to. I mean, my son was 6 years old, and daycare is hugely expensive. At least it was in Northern California in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I played poker for a couple of years after reading a couple of books and just went in there and just worked the odds and ground, I grinded out a living for 3 years and suffered all the emotional swings that a poker player goes through, because you can do everything right in poker to the numbers and still get your ass handed to you.
Absolutely.
And so, it can be stressful. Anyway, make a long story short, I didn't have the benefit that it sounds like you had a father that was right on time. I would love to have you share some of the insights of an entrepreneurial father who obviously is a boomer, a baby boomer, how he imparted it to you, a Gen X. So what were some of the entrepreneurial principles or things that you got taught really early that you didn't realize you even got taught them until you got into crypto and noticed how many people are financially illiterate?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that was important, he owned a tree work and landscaping business. And so one of the first things that I learned, was how important, sales is. But it was also more importantly, it's not that you're trying to sell somebody something, that you're trying to solve a problem for them. And I found, early in life that if you try to sell somebody something, nobody wants to buy anything. But that if you can solve somebody's problem, they welcome you with open arms. So I got to see that process, where my father was doing, the estimates. He did all of the estimating for all of the jobs, and I got to see, how important it was to build rapport. They say that nobody cares how much you know until they see how much you care. And so, my dad always had, high integrity, good intentions. He made good money doing what he did, but he also always taught me in life that if it's not win-win, don't do it. And so that was valuable. Something else that my dad did that changed the course of my life is when I was about 12 years old, he started paying me $5 a book to read books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, the power of positive thinking, the magic of thinking big. And that forever changed my life and changed my outlook. I am very big on like the motto, happiness is a choice, that you're never going to be happy someday if you can't be happy right where you are right now. And if you can be happy right now, then when it does get better and that someday comes, you will really be happy. One of the guys that I love listening to is a guy named Ed Milet, and he says, "Hey, I've been happy poor, and I've been happy rich. And believe me, rich is much better. But it's important to be happy when everything isn't going so great too." So those are a few of the things that he imparted that are still with me today, and part of the reason that I'm having the success that I'm having.
Right. That's great. There is I can tell you that it was about slightly before the heart attack, but the heart attack really drove this home, and that is to because I spent like 4 years, Brad, from 2000, well, actually from 2015 to just recently, grinding, living on nothing, and it was fun. I had a lot of great times. I got to travel around and do this program called the Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. It's called Woofing. It's really great. Matter of fact, I suggest anybody who wants to see a different place, look into Woofing. Great way to go to another country or another part of your country and live for nothing and get to experience stuff. Anyway, make a long story short, the investment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna grind, and then I was like, wait a second. Truth is, I could be grinding forever, right? I could be grinding forever. Why don't I start, like taking on a new context or adding to my existing context of, let's invest in my lifestyle, a quality of life. And that doesn't necessarily mean Lamborghinis and private jets. I think what it means is have some fulfillment and enjoyment. If I want to take a trip, I want to go see Colombia, Jerry. You've got money now. You don't need to hoard it away because because I had this thing, I'm not going to spend anything until it's over $1 million. I've never been a millionaire before. So I had this little, I'm gonna eat top ramen until I have $1 million in my portfolio. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna wear the soles off of these shoes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really did a good job of that, considering of the life that I came from. And it was like somewhere along the way, I don't know if it was through Raoul Powell or somebody, it was like, invest in a quality of life. And when that clicked, this beautiful property fell into my lap. The garden paradise with the beautiful waterfall, everything I always wanted. Guess what, Brett, for $30,000? Oh, wait, I can make that work with my portfolio. Great. Next thing. I mean, it's like, oh my God. And now all of a sudden, I'm directing some of the yield machine toward quality of life, not in all capital reinvestment, not all compound. And you know what? I got more Bitcoin today than I've ever had in my life. I've got more this than I've ever had in my life. I got more. And that's all because of the compounding thing.
Yeah. I think, one of the things that's important to make clear, your audience probably knows this because they've listened to you a lot, but I think, I don't want to speak for you, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but when you talk about, if it doesn't make a yield for you, you don't own it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't like Bitcoin and that you don't like Ethereum. That just means, I believe, that you're making sure that they're in a platform like Nexo or Celcius, earning you interest. Because that's one of the things that I try to teach my viewers is I really believe it's important when you first get into crypto to kind of build that base of the top 25, maybe top 50, but mostly in that top 25, like your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Polkadot, Matic. I like VeChain a little bit and Zilqua, which might have dropped down. But I think it's important to kind of cut your teeth and build up that foundation of the blue chips. And then, at least what I did, once I had a big portfolio of those, then I started branching out into like the smaller cap gems, stuff that only had 10, 20, $30 million market caps. And I was pretty aggressive with it, but I was also where I might buy a Bitcoin today and I might never sell it for the rest of my life. If I put $1,000 into a small cap gem and in a couple of weeks or a month or two at 3 or 4 X's, I'm 99% pulling out my original investment and probably a little sugar too. And then I might let some ride long term, but that's kind of like my diversification, my top 25. I just kind of keep adding to it. Polkadot, you can get 12% on in several different places. Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's easy to get 5-6%. And 5% doesn't sound like that much, but when you have an asset that when it runs, it goes up by 5 or 10 or 20 times, now you're looking at 25 or 50 or 100% on your money. So I'm with you. I don't really own I do own a couple of things that I'm not earning any yield on, but I would say that 90% of the tokens that I own are earning me some type of yield. And I do agree with you that that's super important strategy to have.
Well, the thing that it's been So I'll tell you this has been the biggest advantage of the yield strategy, right? I got into the yield strategy because I wanted an income that I decided to defer and let it compound into itself. But then that yield strategy it became a asset acquisition strategy. So case in point, I've got an asset. I've got $30,000 in this asset. It's earning 5% a year, but I'm getting the interest paid to me daily, right? So I can take whatever frequency I want. I happen to work on a weekly basis, right? I like Friday to be my payday. So Friday, I calculate my yield. I get my yield. What am I going to do with my yield? Well, a portion of it's got to compound back into the principal because I always want the principal to grow. Then I got this little chunk. What am I going to do with that? I go searching for a new project. Now, 3 years ago, this was difficult, but it wasn't that difficult to put $300 into VeChain at 0.0002 and nab up 50,000, 100,000 of the little suckers for a couple $100 or $100, right?
Yep.
Or to buy Cardano at 0.003, couple $100 got me, 100,000 of them. Not bad when it turns into a $3 token.
Amen.
Okay, so we can all do that now. Now, will they all do that? No, they don't. But if we get, in today's world, you can put $100 into a Zilliqa, put a Zilliqa in its own platform wallet, earn 10% from the protocol itself. And what's your total downside risk? $100. That's it.
Yes.
What's the upside risk? Infinity. With a risk to reward ratio like that, if you are earning yield already, to not expand your base is criminal. Because we are in this environment where the risk to reward ratio is so skewed to the upside. There's only one time in my life that can even compare to this, and that was the internet boom of the 90s.
Yes.
And although many companies that were promising back then are no longer anywhere near existence, people don't even remember them. We did get Google. We did get Amazon. We did get, you fill in the blank.
Microsoft.
Well, Microsoft is already there. But yeah, these companies, and then it's like, okay, well, this is all the same stuff. This is just history repeating again. This is the next innovative wave that is going to collapse cost, reduce friction, open up commerce. That's all the internet did. That's all the internet did, is create a marketplace for a broader audience. Well, that's cryptocurrencies are doing the same thing. They're bringing payment to the internet and allowing people to read, so it's just a repeat. There's going to be trillions of dollars generated. And if all you need is to do is hit a couple.
Yep.
Hit a couple. So it's risk reward. Nowadays, are you familiar with what's going on in the Cosmos ecosystem by any chance?
No, not as anywhere near as well as I should be. You mentioned it briefly when we talked last week, but it sounds it's got some amazing stuff going on.
It's all the promise that Ethereum brought us, but without any of the cost that Ethereum brings us. So therefore, so if programmable money can happen in a fast, efficient, low cost, or literally no cost way, most likely it's going to take shape, right? People gravitate to value. Well, there's a whole ecosystem of stuff in there that I can buy, put $100 in, stake it, compound my staking on some frequency, And so that's what I've been doing. So I take little portions of the rewards I'm already earning from other quality projects, i.e. my Bitcoin, my Cardano and Polkadot and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm taking little stakes in these projects that nobody's ever heard of. But you know what? Maybe digital music might catch on. So BitSong, put $100 into that. Let's just compound it. What about
Yes.
digital identity? That might catch on. I don't know if the
Absolutely.
company I put $100 in will be the one that provides digital authenticated digital identity for everybody. However, risk reward ratio, put $100 in, I could be right. Never know. And it goes
Absolutely.
on and on. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, Brad. This ecosystem is so rich and diverse and so inexpensive to get involved with and participate in a $100 type of way. Try
Absolutely.
doing anything Ethereum.
You know, and I don't know if the viewers caught this, but one of the things that Jerry just said that is so amazing about crypto is that it's really open to anybody. You know, in poker, you got to have a bankroll.
Yeah.
So you can be the best poker player in the world, but if you ain't got a buy-in, you can't play. And you know, the stock market, the same thing. Like, yeah, if you have a lot of money, you can definitely get into the stock market and earn some respectable, you know, annual income and that kind of stuff. But if you're a blue collar, hardworking, you know, guy that's living paycheck to paycheck and doesn't have a lot of disposable income, for me to come tell you that you're going to drastically change your life financially by investing in the stock market is naive. Now, yeah, if you start young and you got 30 or 40 years, of course you can, by the time you're 60 or 70, you can change your life. But crypto is something that you can change your life in the next few years. And like he said, just $100 here, $100 there. And I always tell my viewers, you know, it's so important, you know, to change the questions that you ask, the statements that you make. Like one of the things that I always try to teach people if I'm working with them one-on-one is to never use the word "I can't afford it." Because when you use the words "I can't afford it," you automatically turn off all of your creative juices. Your subconscious mind, if you say "I can't afford it," your subconscious mind starts giving you all of the reasons you're right. Starts telling you all of the reasons why you can't afford it, and you basically just move on to something else in life and give up. So you got to start asking yourself, how can I afford it? Just that one word difference all of a sudden makes all the difference in the world, because now your subconscious mind goes to work on how you can afford it. And maybe it's a garage sale, or maybe it's a second car that you don't drive all that often and that you can sell for a couple of $1,000. Or you know what? I mean, if you really are serious about changing your financial future, what about coming home from work and instead of just sitting down and watching Netflix for 4 or 5 hours, you go do some Uber? I mean, like, the opportunities are endless. And if you think about it, you're like, well, man, if I go do some Uber, maybe I make $50, $75 a day. It's not really worth my time. But if you really get excited about crypto and realize, hey, that $50 a day is really $500 a day if you put it into the right projects and you let it build. So the thing I love about crypto is there's no excuses for anybody to not change their financial future with it if they're willing to do the work and have some delayed gratification. It's just available to everybody.
That's it right there. And so, and there is the rub, right? There is the deal. Here is this opportunity, right? The opportunity is real. You and I have seen behind the curtain. We know it's there. Yet, less than 5% of the world is even dipping their toes in this. Interesting set of circumstances, right? This thing is so wonderful. It just goes to show how I don't want this. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but I will tell you it's awfully odd that the two most impactful elements of the human existence right? The health of our body and the mobility with the economy, right? Being able to move and participate in the economy. The two most impactful things a human can go through. The education around it is all crap and garbage and misinformation, right? We're not taught financial literacy, and we're not taught good health.
100% correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Both those fields are dominated by big money interests and have been forever.
Yep.
Money's been controlled by people with money, and it's been absolutely not part. We don't teach peasants how to get out of being a peasant. Then who's going to do these are the lords back in the day, where if we teach them about money, they will stop doing the hard manual labor.
Yes.
And I don't want to do it, so let's not teach them.
Absolutely.
And then comes the food industry. The minute they started figuring out that, we can influence what's recommended. And they did.
Absolutely.
I've got the world.
I've got a daughter. Yep. I got a daughter that just turned 18 in October, just graduated from high school early. I've got a son that's 15 and a half. And the only thing that they know about money that's positive is what we've taught them.
Yeah.
They haven't learned one thing in all of their years of school that's going to help them in their adult life. And in fact, it's just the exact opposite. I mean, if it wasn't for our input and trying to explain to our daughter why credit cards are bad, because here she is at 18 years old, and it seems like there's a new one in the mail every single day. And and when she first started getting them, she was pretty excited. She wanted to get a couple, and we steered her away from it. Oh, but I got to build up my credit. Hey, don't worry, we're going to help you with that. We can show you how to do that without getting into a bunch of debt. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That at least, especially here in America, we are taught from the day that we're old enough to start learning that the way to be successful is to get a good education and go get a good job. And then most people, by the time they're about 30 or 40, realize that they've been totally lied to, because I honestly don't know one person. I don't know one person my whole life that works for somebody else that's living the life that they wanted to live, that's happy and doing what they want to do. I mean, I don't know one. They basically go to work 40, 50 hours a week just to exist, just to have the food and the shelter and the car. Most of them haven't taken a vacation, not a real vacation. I mean, packing some stuff up in the back of your car and sleeping outside in a tent for 2 or 3 days a couple of times a year. That's not a vacation. Now, don't get me wrong. If you love the outdoors and you love camping, that's great. But I'm just saying, like, the ability to really go take a true vacation. There was somebody up here, Mentalect, said financial freedom is underrated. And I'm not exactly sure what he means by that statement. But man, I tell you, this last couple of years, just the simple things in life, like when I go to a restaurant, I don't have to look at the menu, the price on the menu anymore, where 99% of the population, they look at the right-hand side and see how much it costs. Then they go back over and look at the left-hand side and see what it is. And they base their decision on what they're going to buy by the price. And it's just that, to me, is financial freedom, being able to go and order what I want to order and not care how much it costs, to be able to go on vacation. So even though, like you said, I don't have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a mansion, but I'm 48, my wife is 34. Neither one of us have a job. We take our kids to school. We pick our kids up. We're there for everything. When we want to go on a vacation, I look at her and say, hey, you want to go on a vacation? She says, yeah, let's do it. And we book it. We don't got to ask anybody. So, man, financial freedom is everything to me. The ability to be there and to live the life that I really, believe. I don't think we were put here on this earth to work 40 or 50 or 60 hours a week just to barely make enough money to survive.
Well, I mean, okay. I have met and know a lot of folks actually who have gone to work for somebody and have 30-40 year careers with utility companies and things like that, and they love the ability to go to work, make their money, and the minute they're off work, they're off work. Generally, when you're working for yourself, entrepreneur type of mentality, you're never off work. That's just the truth, right? So I got no problems with people who work for other people or do any of those kind of things. I just think that people should understand that there is a way to get ahead. And if you understand money, the history of it, what's happening currently, and what we can reasonably forecast will be the future of it, then you can use logic and reason to kind of ascertain a path of how to negotiate it. The problem is most people are being fed misinformation, right? Like,
yes,
people understand about debt, right? Because most of us are in it. We have a debt culture. But it wasn't
yes.
always like that, right? We didn't.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't always about a debt culture. It wasn't until we figured out that debt could be paid off through inflation that governments went, this is the greatest way in the world to not raise taxes on our citizens, but allow us to continue to spend more. Great little mechanism until the rates get to zero. And then the mechanism breaks. It doesn't work anymore. And we're seeing that now.
Yes.
Now, as a human being, as an individual, we don't have the luxury of a printing press and monetary policy. We are in an economy, and we have no choice, right? We don't have any choices. The US dollar, for those of you in the US, that's your currency. And for a lot of other countries, it is also. So the monetary policy of the US, you're stuck with it, like it or not. All right, cool. But if you understand the game, you can win it. And that's been the biggest thing, the travesty in my mind, is that we haven't even been shown what the real game is. We've been lied to and said the game is something else. Once you understand what the game is, then it's up to you to how you want to participate in it. And it goes for the health stuff too. You know what I mean? When I was in school and when you were in school, we were given the food pyramid and da-da-da-da. Now it's even changed. My son was given the 4 quadrants, right? But it's still all garbage. It literally, a carbohydrate-rich diet is garbage, period. Sugar and refined grains are garbage. Yet, every recommendation you'll get from the establishment is a carbo-heavy hydrate diet, heavy carb diet. Grains are the numero uno foundation. They build everything upon. All right, say hello to insulin resistance.
Right.
Say hello to diabetes at an epidemic level. Say hello to heart disease at epidemic level, stroke at chronic medication use. It's horrible. And well, guess what? We have now what you and I didn't have as kids, and that is an internet where we can find real information. A lot of it you got to sift through bullshit, but we have access to real information, and that can make a change. Information is power. And so what you're doing on your channel, what I'm doing on my channel, and what countless others are doing is we're trying to bring what we understand to be the truth as we see it today, and hopefully it is making an impact on people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's go to the comments here for a second.
Sure.
I want to say hello to some folks. I don't think I got to say hi to Jared. Jared is just wonderful. I go back with Jared a long time. Hi, Ellie Poole, JJ, obviously Pete Kelly. I said Damon, nice to see you. Sebastian, Metalac, Sean, and Cryptocurrent, and S. Porter. How about some XRP? Well, how about some XRP? Let's hope they win their case with the SEC. Until then, when you take the largest player in any economic situation out of the equation, it's going to be hard to have economic momentum. So until the U.S. is a player in the XRP market, especially commercially, kind of tough to see XRP do a whole lot. That's my XRP rant. Let's talk about what got you turned on. I met you through Metaverse.
Yeah.
And you were every video was just unbridled enthusiasm. You still think about the Metaverse area and the little gems that you're finding in that world?
Yeah, it's absolutely still something that I get very excited about. Well, one of the reasons that I got excited about it was through my journey in crypto, I was able to create an OTC group where I helped people get, you wanted token XYZ. It wasn't on the market yet because back in 18 and 19, we didn't have DEXs. So a lot of times when a company did an ICO, it would distribute the tokens out to the private sale holders, but they didn't have any place to sell them. So I had created trust in the community, and I had a Telegram channel where you would come and say, hey, I want some XYZ token. Joe would say, okay, I'll trade you whatever, 1 Bitcoin for 10,000 XYZ token. But in crypto, somebody's got to send first. And if you send first and Joe doesn't send back, what are you going to do? He's probably in India or some other country. I mean, there's nothing you can do. So I developed enough trust where they would send me their funds. He would send me the Bitcoin, you would send me the XYZ token, and then I would make the switch. And through doing that, I created some amazing contacts and networked over the years. And so even though I'm an American citizen, I have the ability to get into a lot of private sales now. And so I also came across a venture capitalist firm called the Gaines Associates.
I heard you talk about that.
Yeah. So if you own 10,000 of their tokens and you just hold them in your MetaMask wallet, that gets you into their fourth tier. You can get 10,000, 30,000, 100,000, and 200,000 tokens are their 4 different tiers. But by owning 10,000 of their tokens, every time they come to the group with a private sale, I'm able to buy anywhere from about $400 to $1,000 worth of these private sales. So I managed to get lucky and get $1,000 into Blocktopia. So at this point, I've sold the first 15% of those tokens for 44 grand. And the remaining 85% is still worth about 150,000. And that's after it's retraced a ton over the last couple of months because of the market. And I've had several ICOs that I've done very well like that with. And most of them were Metaverse tokens. So that's kind of one of the reasons that I did a lot of videos on that. I also found that it was a great way to help my community because a lot of these projects, even though I'm a smaller YouTube channel, so they're not willing to pay me to promote their product. But what they were willing to do was to give me whitelists. So Celcius, they gave me 3 $500 whitelists that I was able to raffle off to my community. Now the winners had to put the $500 up, but they were able to get into the private sale of Celcius. And I've been able to do that now with multiple different projects. So just recently, I gave away three $100 private allocations into MetaMall's token. And then it's also allowed me the ability now, some of the projects have actually given me allocations that I could bring to my community. So I was able to just sell $50,000 worth of private sale tokens to BeamSwap, which is one of the first DEXs to launch on the Moonbeam network. We were able to get into it for about 2 cents. It launched to about 13 cents. So we got 10% of it. So anybody that got that first 10% was able to get 50 or 60% of their original investment back. And now they're riding, the 90%. Now it's dropped a bunch since the launch, but so that's kind of one of my strategies too. Whenever I do these ICOs, we try to pull our initial capital back, protect our initial capital, and then kind of, let it go from there. But yeah, I think the metaverse could be crypto's saving grace this year. I think DeFi is still going to have its day, but I think that a lot of the metaverse projects, the ones that really stick and do well, are going to still bring people some amazing gains, even though crypto itself might go a little sideways on us for a while.
That's an interesting take. I definitely got how committed and there's a lot of conviction. You have a lot of conviction in your thoughts around that. I'm not as convicted. I have a play, right? I have a play. I and 10 of my friends put up a 1.5 Ethereum and built a metaverse portfolio several months back. It's taken a hit, but I'm not at all worried about it. And some of the stuff is actually doing fine. Like we were able to, our entire blockfolio allocation, we were able to just stake it, right? For a 1-year contract, get 60% return. You know what? If it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, oh well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I haven't been able to figure out how to do the sand token. We got sand token on the Polygon network and the Ethereum network, and I can't seem to get the stupid thing to line up. I can't seem to get my sand tokens staked, but we're trying, and that's the whole deal. Right? We've got positions. We've taken good positions. We're gonna let the positions ride, and hopefully it's a great investment. You know what? But again, it's back to what's the total downside. The total downside is the 1.5 Ethereum that we each put in. That's our maximum loss.
Yes.
But we've got this monster upside return profile that's possible. And
absolutely,
we've got 18 projects. You would not, one person with 1.5 Ethereum would not be able to do anything substantial in 18 different metaverse projects with 1.5 Ethereum, but 10 of us could.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there was the power in just building the fund, just the sheer dollars involved helped.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm super, I'm sorry?
To be able to do something you could not do on your own.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I love about the metaverse too, there's lots of different types. And I know that there's a lot of people that are big on the video game, the gaming part of the metaverse. And it's hard to argue with them. Like I really enjoy listening to Elio Trades when he talks about, the gaming, and I see it in my own kids' life. I mean, my 15-year-old, if he was actually making money for playing video games, he'd be a millionaire by the time he's 21. And so I see that, and I can see where as this becomes more adopted, and as the metaverse comes into some of the games that he's playing, and he's actually able to own some of these in-game NFTs and get paid to play. And I mean, maybe as an adult, I wouldn't be able to make enough money playing a video game to support myself. But a 15, 16, 17-year-old that can sit there and, and enjoy what they like to do, but still make some money at it, and then have a few years for that to appreciate. So I can see the gaming side of things really being, massive in the years to come.
I could not agree more. My 24-year-old son got here November 28th. Has been here. He's here to learn the family business and go through the construction of the home, but also to learn and understand about money and investing. And he always has enjoyed in his spare time playing video games. And so one of the things he's done for me is he's my lead researcher. He has dove into these play to earn games, and I get little reports. Hey, Dad, the developers were guys that were behind other AAA games, like blah 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 and blah. Oh, okay, great. And hey, this has really got a nice user interface, but hey, this one doesn't. This sucks. This one's maybe hyped, and or this developer is the developer behind 3 failed other things, and here they were, and this is how they failed, and da 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 da. da. And I'm like, wow, that's a level of research that I was not able to find because I'm not a gamer anymore, really, right? My
Yeah.
video game experience is playing Poker Stars,
Right.
right? That's my video game experience. A little different than these MMOs and these first-person shooter dialogues and the places where you can actually get items that become valuable. That whole economy is going to change. And when you can own your value across platform, which is what blockchain and crypto bring to the table, it's a game changer. It's a game changer because that's never before been possible. Cross-platform value transfer. That is a game changer. And how that's going to manifest and what that's really going to look like, nobody knows. Right?
Right.
So you may be onto something, young man, and that's why I like following you. Hey, Brady, I'm going to bring in Brad. I'm going to bring in my producer, Brady. Great, totally great guy. I want to, though, give you an opportunity, because we're at the end of our hour for the show, to leave the audience with kind of your final thoughts, just your last little, this is what's going on in your mind kind of thing.
Sure. You know, right now, so many people are afraid, and rightfully so. This market is volatile. And one of the things that when I'm talking to newer people in crypto and I'm trying to get them started, is I try to explain to them the difference between risk and volatility. And risk is the percentage chance that your investment is going to go to zero, where volatility is just the heart attack chart, kind of in between. And so many people from a traditional market are not used to these big swings. You know, I've got a gentleman that's got massive stock market portfolio. He was showing me a portfolio is worth like $1.7 million a couple of weeks ago. And he said that's just one. He's maybe got 150,000 in crypto. And he messages me all the time. Oh my God, Brad, what happened? My Polkadot, you know, went down 20% today. And I tell him, yeah, that's just a normal day in crypto, you know, but history has shown us in crypto that even if you buy at the absolute all-time highs, that as long as you follow the 2 rules of don't invest money that you can't afford to lose, and 2, don't invest money that you can't afford to leave in the market for a long period of time, you're going to be okay. So this right now is opportunity. So many people run away from crypto during these bad times. They forget about it. They start getting into other things in life, and then they'll come back in 3 months or 6 months or whenever Bitcoin is coming up towards its all-time high. They'll come back in and they'll get excited and they'll jump back in. And that's the worst thing that you guys can do, folks. Fortunes are made when you buy, not when you sell. So many people don't realize that. Like in real estate, you don't buy a $500,000 house for $500,000 hoping that in a few years it's going to be worth $600,000 or $700,000. At least not professional real estate people. They find a $500,000 house that the owner is motivated to sell, or that something is going on with it. They can pick up for $350,000 or $400,000. They've already got $100,000 in equity in it. Well, that's what I feel like you're doing today. When you're buying Polkadot at 18 bucks, Chainlink for $14, you know, Ripple was 60 cents the last time I saw it. Right now is an opportunity for you to double down and get your money in, like we like to say in poker, you get your money in good. Once again, anything can happen, but if you consistently get your money in good in life, you're gonna do well. So that's what I would say is just, you know, don't let this downswing scare you out of the market, and you know, just be smart And like I say, invest money that you can afford to leave in the market for a while. And, I appreciate you having me on this show so much. And, hopefully a few of your viewers will come over my way and maybe partake in some of the giveaways and stuff that I'm doing. And, I definitely look forward to having you on my show, because I would like my viewers to be able to listen to your strategies and your viewpoints, and be able to hear your story of how you moved from Northern California to Costa Rica, and then have built your dream life over the last 3 years. So please, let's not wait too long before you come over and spend an hour on my show.
Well, that's completely up to you, man. I don't have a job. I'm here all day.
Fair enough, man. You'll get the invitation soon. We'll set it up.
Right on. Brady, you ready to come in, bud?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brady, thoughts on tonight's show, and just thoughts on the market in general.
Market in general. The old sideways slide. I guess it's time to dust off the research papers and figure out, take a look at the Cosmos station and what was the Kepler wallet. Like, once you start using these wallets and tools and, I guess, financial instruments, it just, I don't know, it's been getting me to think about time a lot more, I guess, compressed. Like, imagining, when I'd quote unquote retire, you could call it numerically, and what most people subscribe to, and having their 401k and everything. That's great, and it's, more power to them. I hope everything is grand, but I don't know, crypto just has a certain twang to it, and I think the compounding interest and combining that with the fact that they are actual assets themselves and not just tools for staking. So it's like you said, trillions are coming in. It's just a matter of what seed you hold and how quickly it grows, or not. But that's the game we play, and that's the risk we you're either betting too much or you are in one asset too much. Just adjust the risk and sleep at night.
Right on. Well, folks, I'll tell you, if you have any inkling at all in trying to get some understanding of what is coming on the market from a game perspective, this whole category of Metaverse, Infinite Crypto YouTube channel has got tons of content describing what some of these new things are, talking about their potential use cases or target audiences. Really helped me a lot in creating the Patreon group's Meta Fund. So thank you, Brad, for that, and I hope you guys get a lot out of it. My closing thought for tonight is going to be basically a call to action. For all of you that watch this channel and are at all interested in being able to participate and profit from a free market in a capitalistic type of way, you need to take some action beyond investing in projects that you like. That action that you need to take is you've got to stand up, and you've got to, if you're in the United States or have friends in the United States, we've got to address this America Competes bill. This is absolutely atrocious for crypto. Take 5 minutes and email your representatives, right? You're going to have 2 representatives and 2 congresspeople. For sure, 1 House rep in your district that you live, and the other reps you can reach out to, because if they're in your state, and say, hey, as a president of this state, I feel this way. Then you got your senators. This act of America Competes, 1,400 pages, and garbage content around the use of power as it pertains to being able to, without notice, without due process, shut down industries, crypto being named as one of them. We need to do something about this. Let your representatives know. We cannot afford to have our dreams crushed by some stupid banking lobby, right? So,
Amen.
do it. Don't take my word for it. Look into it. If you care about your own self-preservation, which game theory says you should, then you need to do this. Not because Jerry wants you to, because your own future dictates it. Your well-being dictates it. Please, I know you're all a bunch of selfish son of guns. Best interest, study this and take action. All right, I pleaded my little heart out. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. I want to thank Brad for coming and spending time with us tonight. And until next time, everybody, Pura Vida.